Welcome, Star City Blood Bowl League coaches, to the Star City Blood Bowl League Season 6 end of season statistics and awards, where we kind of go over which of the teams had a really, really great year, which ones maybe did not have such a great year but had fun along the way, and just some general statistics on the league totals, which I think are very interesting, and I think some of you do as well. We'll also talk about players, individual players on teams, and how they performed, and just kind of also looking ahead at what's next for the league, what tournaments are coming up that I think are worth mentioning. So. Um, Without really going into that, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for playing this season. It was a really fun season. We had well over 20 coaches, which is the most we've ever had. And everybody stuck it out. Nobody quit on the way, and that was really the best part for me. Is just everybody actually committing to the season and seeing it all the way through, whether they were winning or losing. It really built up. Um, kind of an immersive experience for a lot of other coaches, to feel like you were actually part of an ongoing Blood Bowl league. And so I just want to thank everybody. I hope to see everybody back for season 7, plus some new faces on the way. So without further ado, I'll kind of get into some of the league statistics. So, league total wise, so as I mentioned, we had 20 teams. Of those, we had 87 games that were scheduled. Um, and 86 were played. That's including regular season and the playoffs. The one game that was missed was the very last game of the season. Just two coaches couldn't line up, and we just had to move forward with the season. We couldn't really wait any longer. Um, but I'm really proud of everybody. I mean, that's a big commitment. That's, I don't know, 95 plus, maybe 98% of the games ended up played, which was really great. The highest team value we had was 1650. No one reached the team value cap that we established at 1700, and most of the teams honestly were only about 1400. There were very few teams that were in the 1500 or 1500 plus range. I think it was only maybe 3 teams at that time. Most were still 13 to 1400 along that way. There were a total of 194 touchdowns scored throughout the season, 299 casualties, which included 28 player deaths, so little less than 10% player deaths on every single casualty, but 10% on a, you know, I guess really it's a 1 in 8 shot. So maybe it makes sense for what it is, but it seemed like there were a lot of deaths at times. They seem to come in waves. 54 completed passes this season, which was great. Only one interception, which I thought was worth mentioning. So moving on, some of you wanted to figure out how your division fared, and this is kind of how they stacked up. The Blue Ridge division, they had a total of 160 team points, 97 touchdowns scored, 149 casualties, which included 13 deaths, and 33 completions. The Mill Mountain division, they had a lot closer games. It appears their team points was only 152. Less touchdowns scored, so maybe a little better defense. 83 touchdowns there, with 122 casualties and matching 13 deaths. So they had a higher percentage of deaths to casualties than in the Blue Ridge division, but the same total. And only 19 completions, so there was a lot less passing going on in the Mill Mountain division. So I guess now I'll just step right into the actual team awards, or at least some of the team awards, um, if I can go the right direction. So first up's the Wooden Spoon. The Wooden Spoon is the team that got last place, um, but certainly not last overall. This actually came down to a draw and ended up being one of those head-to-head tie-breaking matchups for who actually won the Wooden Spoon. But it goes to the Green Slime Packers. The Green Slime Packers ended the season with a team value of 1270. They were a Nurgle team that had 1 win, 1 draw, and 6 losses. They had a total of 3 touchdowns scored through 8 games and 15 touchdowns against them in those 8 games. They did have a +6 net casualty, which was good. So they weren't getting beat up more than they were beating up their opponent, but just not getting in the end zone enough. And this was coached by Seth. So congratulations, Seth, and the Green Slime Packers on winning this award. Next up is my favorite award. It goes to for best defense, and this goes to the Stone Cold Stunners. The Stunners ended the season with a team value of 1290 K team value. Is a little lower than I think it would have been had they not lost a troll in the championship match. Um, but they were probably flirting somewhere around 1400 after the championship match if that troll was still alive. They ended the season with 10 wins, one loss. They only allowed 4 touchdowns through regular season and the playoffs combined, 3 in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs. There's a 91% win percent, and this team was coached by Bob Haley. So congratulations, Bob, and the Stone Cold Stunners on best defense. Next up is a new award that I kind of created, which I think is a good one. I really want to bring it back for tournament play as well, which is Rookie of the Year. This is going to go to the team that did the best in their first appearance with us in the Star City Blood Bowl League. This goes to the It's a Pack of Reptars. They were a Lizardman team that ended the season at 1430 team value. 4 wins and 5 losses, which include one's playoff loss right there. They did have a playoff appearance, which I think is part of why they earned this Rookie of the Year award. Making it to the playoffs in your first Blood Bowl season is very, very difficult, and being a new player in a 20-person league and being able to make it in a top 8 is very good. 0 net touchdowns, so they scored just as many as their opponents did, kind of matching touchdowns. They did have +6 net casualties caused, and this team was coached by Gerald. So congratulations, Gerald, and the Reptars on a great season this year. Next up, we have the punching bag award. This goes to the team that just sustained the most injuries. It's another new award that I just thought was fun to add in here. They ended the season with a team value of 1260. They ended up with 1 win and 7 losses. 28 injuries sustained throughout the whole season, which was the most of anybody by a long shot, and which included a -20 net casualties caused. So they got beat up bad, pretty much, for the most part. And the only team that maybe came into comparison was the Silver Strikers, but I think they were only a -14 net casualties caused. But for a Slan team to be mostly, AV 9 plus, sustaining this many injuries, I think was pretty rare. So that team was coached by Z. So congratulations, Z and the Bullfrogs on the Punching Bag Award. Next up, and it looks like I didn't change this picture, um, is the Mahomes Award, which should go to LaClaus. I guess this should be a werewolf, but I messed up there, so it works out. Um, all of us know LaClaus, Mario LaClaus. He plays for the MASH. Werewolf number 66. He's a block, dodge, sidestep, defensive, safe pair of hands, horns werewolf. That is a Leland, according to Torplay. I guess in whatever country Torplay is made, legend just didn't make sense. Um, he scored 10 of the team's 14 regular season touchdowns. And the reason he won this award is because he has a payroll of 285,000. And he had the highest payroll both, you know, within the regular season and prior to the playoffs. So 285 was quite a bit more than the second place team. And maybe it may have been 50,000 more or 40,000 more, quite a bit more. I think Thrackbull was very close, far behind the Bull Centaur for the Hashut's Chosen. But this one goes to Mario LaClaus. So congratulations to Mario and the MASH. The next up, we have the Best Passer Award. This actually goes to Vincent, which I think, surprised everybody, in their dedication to passing. He's an Imperial thrower, number 13, lucky number 13 for the Silver Strikers. He does have 4 upgrades. A couple of them are randoms, but it's sure hands, kick, accurate, Hail Mary pass, and then of course he has pass and running pass, like most Imperial throwers have. He's had one MVP and 16 career completions, and this season, during those 8 games, he had 10 regular season completions, and he's a bargain at 135,000 payroll for a passer. So, congratulations to Shad, the Silver Strikers, and Vincent on winning the Best Passer award. Next up, we have the most brutal. The most brutal ends up going to Thorgrim Trollbane. Thorgrim is 190,000 payroll Troll Slayer for the Iron City Grudge Bears. He has Mighty Blow and Stand Firm, and through those 8 games, he caused 8 casualties throughout the year. Next up, we have the highest scorer. This is Mario Laclaus, who plays for the Mash. We've been over, kind of who Laclaus is. But as I mentioned, he scored 10 of the team's 14 regular season touchdowns. And I think he scored maybe 13 of the 14 total touchdowns, or I'm sorry, 13 of the 17 touchdowns for the entire team. So there was only these 4 touchdowns in the playoffs. I don't think anyone else scored. I could be wrong. Um, Maybe Wilhelm scored once, but I'm pretty sure Laclaus scored all the touchdowns for the Mash in the playoffs as well. So congratulations to Mario for highest score this season. Just edging out, I think it was Scatter for the Vermintide, so by 1 touchdown on the regular season. So next up, Spike Magazine Award, right? So Spike Magazine goes to the player that gained the most star player points in season 6. And this goes to Mario Laclaus, who racked up a whopping 56 SPP in season 6. He ended his career with a total of 22 touchdowns in 2 seasons, which is really, really great. I think it was only like 14 games, so he scored, I don't know, 1.4 touchdowns per game that he played in, um, which is really great. As I mentioned, he is a block, dodge, sidestep, defensive, safe pair of hands, and horns uh, uh, werewolf that I frequently called the Rainbow Warrior because when you played him, he had like a million bands on him that were all colors of the rainbow, pretty much. So, congratulations on the Spike Magazine Award. This is really, I think, the most prestigious award that we give to a single player. It's essentially an SPP all around. Are you getting MVPs? Are you getting touchdowns? Are you getting casualties? You can win this a number of different ways. And this just goes to show how good of a player Mario Laclaus was. So congratulations to the MASH there. So now we're going to look at the playoffs a little bit. So looking at the playoffs, um, the Star City Blood Bowl League playoffs, as I mentioned, there were 8 teams in this. This is kind of how the playoffs shook out. Pretty much every dominant seed, the high seed won every single match throughout the whole playoffs. So the team that had the most points won that match, even in the playoffs. The MASH beat the Grudge Bears. The Sinister Storm beat the Punching Stunties. Then the MASH beat the Sinister Storm. And on the other side, the Stunners beat the Reptars to move on, and the Vermintide beat the Cave Spring Crash. And then the Stone Cold Stunners beat the Vermintide, and the Stone Cold Stunners ended up winning the Star City Blood Bowl League Season 6 in a very close match against the MASH, which Lord Borak took place in, and so did Wilhelm, which was really great and exciting to see. So I guess, it kind of spoils it a little bit. So congratulations to the Stone Cold Stunners on winning season 6. This is Bob Haley's first championship in a regular season. He's been there, I think, at least one other time with Chaos Renegades, but wasn't able to pull that one out. But he ended with a team value of 1290K team value, 10 wins, 1 loss, 19 touchdowns scored, 4 touchdowns against, +4 net casualties, so 25 to 21 in that respect. And so, here's Bob celebrating. Let me see if I can get it to come up here. There it is. There's Bob celebrating his trophy. This was him after the game. I think right after his end of game interview. So congratulations again, Bob, on winning the season. Um, and a great season for the Stunners, a great season for everybody. And so now we'll kind of dive into important dates upcoming for the league. So important things coming up. This Saturday, we have our season 6 cookout. So I hope to see all of you there. I know some of you can't make it because of work or other commitments, but we're going to have burgers and hot dogs, hang out, talk about the season, talk about the next season. I'm sure we'll just talk about Blood Bowl in general, and just eat hot dogs and hamburgers and just chill and get to know each other and kind of bond as a league, which I think is very valuable, especially so you can keep getting to know coaches that maybe weren't in your league, or weren't in your division and didn't get a chance to play this season. Just in case you get to play them next season, and then you already have a face with a name, and get to know them. July 3rd is our commitment date to play in season 7. You have to let us know you're playing by that date. You don't have to pick your team yet, but you have to let us know. At that point, I'm going to open up tour play for season 7. On that day, you need to get in and register your team and assign them to the league by July 10th. Um, and then in that gap of July 10th, we're going to have the 10th anniversary of the Atlantic Coast Charity Cup tournament in Virginia Beach. It's on July 16th. There are at least 5 coaches from our league that are going. So just stay tuned, cheer them on as best you can. We'll try and give updates how the day is going, but hopefully our coaches from Roanoke do very well that day. Um, and I can't remember what anyone is bringing specifically, but there's some elves, there's some tomb kings, there's maybe some stunties in there, so we've got a lot of it covered. But very excited to go to Virginia Beach to the Atlantic Coast Charity Cup. It's kind of the flagship tournament of Virginia, I think, and is always a really really fun time. And then next up, our season 7 will begin pretty much the week following the ACCC, and that will start the season pretty much. Once all the registration deadline happens, I will draw divisions, I will set up schedules, and essentially have everything ready to go by July 24th, and you can start coordinating with your um, opponent on setting up a game time match. And then the very last thing I wanted to mention is the next Roanoke tournament, which is the Casa Phantasmus Cup. This is October 8th. I'm going to have registrations open on July 1st. Casa Phantasmus Cup is going to be, I think, a kind of wacky tournament for typical for what I, would think I typically rule. But I think I'm moving towards, having one flagship, more, I don't want to say more vanilla rule set, which will be Big Lick Brawl, combined with maybe one kind of wackier rule tournament a year. Um, but it's a spooky themed kind of tournament. It's in October. It uses the Dark of Night weather, which is in the Spike Necromantic magazine. It's going to use the Sylvanian kickoff table, which is in the Spike Necromantic magazine, and it has Phantasma possession. So Casa Phantasmus means ghost hunter, or Ghostbuster, I guess. And so one of your players is going to be possessed by a ghost. They're going to get some additional skills. They're going to get a couple negative skills, mainly one, which is no hands. But they're going to retain all their other skills, and gain a bunch of defensive ones. Oh man, sorry, excuse me. So they are essentially becoming Gretchen the Watcher, I think, for the most part, with their added starting skills as well. Twisted Track Brewing is where it's currently planned to be hosted. I'll make some adjustments to the time. We won't be able to start until about noon, but there's going to be brewery beers. There's going to be food. In general, it's a good time. Because it's at Twisted Track, that also means we're going to be playing on smaller tables, which means that I have to limit the space a pretty good amount, which is fine with me. So we're probably looking at plus or minus about 20 coaches. When I open the registration, there's a very high chance that it sells out very quickly. So I would not hesitate, when it opens on July 1st to send me your pre-registrations so that you can be on the list because once those seats are gone, they're gone. And like I said, if it's only about 20 coaches, it's going to go, I think, pretty quick. Because I know of, I don't know, at least a dozen or more people that are very interested in coming. So um, I think it will go very quickly. So just keep that in mind. Potential for a 24-hour sellout. It happened with Big Lick once when I had to limit it to 36 coaches. So this will be another one of those. I think that's really it. So I just want to thank everybody again for playing this season. Congratulations to everybody's teams and players that won awards, and I'm really looking forward to season 7 and seeing all the new teams. Get working painting your team. It's not required, but obviously it definitely enhances the experience. And I think that one of the things I'd really like to try and push for is that we start to play at alternative places. I mean, I love playing at Mishap, but playing at Old Salem Brewery or Twisted Track or heck, sit down at IHOP and have some pancakes. I'd really like to start moving the game around a little bit, at least when I play people. So maybe just keep that in mind. Um, anyways, everybody have a great rest of the day. I hope to see everybody at the cookout in just a few days, and have a good rest of the week. Thanks. See ya.